I'll give you examples. I love examples. I had a sort of a young fellow. Well, I'm glad y'all made it, man. We were going under. Welcome. I always like to let people sneak in quietly. They were trying to get unnoticed, coming in under the radar. I would rattle them off. What? A young fellow asked me about sponsoring him, and I take sponsorship pretty seriously. I'm going to have about a 2-hour meeting with somebody before I get into that. I mean, I spend more time buying a wheelbarrow than I do sponsorship sometimes. But I wanted to meet with this guy, so we met. And went in his. Now, here are the details of this thing. This guy's sober 13 years. And he told me that he just wasn't happy with the way things were going, that he had a sponsor, but it just didn't seem like it was working out well. And I said, okay, fine. I'll be glad to do it. The only thing I want you to do is responsibly discontinue that sponsorship. Thank the person for the service. And he said, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And he said, do you want to know who it is? I said, I don't need to know who it is. I don't really care. And he said, well, I'll tell you anyway. And it was his non-alcoholic counselor from treatment. And I tell you, I'm a fairly calm fellow, but I mean, my blood pressure was just going. I'm thinking, Jesus, how far off can you possibly get? And so I didn't want to say anything until I got so I could moderate. And so when I settled down, and I said, my friend, let me make a suggestion to you. He said, what? I said, let me suggest that you've never had a sponsor. What you've had is the world's longest aftercare plan. And isn't that what it is? Would it shock you to know that this fellow had never had a home group, had never sponsored anybody? Would that shock you? No, why would it? His basic affiliation, his basic loyalty was where he left. And he never let go. And he never grew as a member. So we had what we do when we meet is we negotiate how we're going to operate. You know, what I'll do, what I will expect of him, what he can expect of me. I want it understood so that we don't get surprised and disappointed when it doesn't work like I think it's going to work. So we like to work that out. So I told him, I said, well, now, in all fairness to you, I'll tell you this, that you're going to have a home group. Doesn't need to be mine. I don't care where you belong. I just want you to belong. You're going to have to get involved in service, and you're going to have to start sponsoring some folk. And he just kind of blanched a little bit because obviously he hadn't thought much about that kind of stuff. And he said, well, okay, I'll do it. And so, you know, as a matter of fact, Thursday night, we after our meeting, we're working with taking 10 people through the steps right now. And so we did that after the meeting. And he's turned into a fine fellow. He was our DCM. He's a GSR. He's a very active member of AA.